Hey, what is going on? It's your boy, Syracuse 5G. That's 5 for 5, 5G. And I'm your host of A Quarter in a Dream, the podcast. And I want to thank you all for tuning in, Dreamers, because we got a very spicy episode today. So, again, we all know, and if you don't know, go and check my TikTok at A Quarter in a Dream podcast, and check the videos there. We've been going ham covering this Diddy situation. So yesterday, Diddy had Homeland Security raid 2 mansions, one in LA, one in Miami, respectively, at the same time. So this was a coordinated effort, by the federal agents to secure something in one of 3 homes, actually. 2 were mansions, one in LA, 1 mansion in Miami, but another penthouse in Miami as well. What they were looking for, we don't know, but we do know that the cause of the search warrant or the raid was behind some sex trafficking allegations, right? So a lot of people, this is after a slew of lawsuits have just been beating Diddy's door down. Starting off with Cassie Ventura, his longtime girlfriend turned alleged sex slave and freak-off master. This lawsuit alleged that Diddy would beat her savagely. Unfortunately, we had no idea, Cassie, and on behalf of the hip-hop community, I'd like to apologize because we did not know. But the signs were there now that you look back on it. Just even thinking about Keisha's TikTok song, TikTok, I'ma hit this like Diddy, I'ma hit this city. Like, oh my God, what if he was talking about Cass City? Oh, conspiracy theory, I'ma hit this Cass City. I'm feeling like Diddy, I'm finna hit this city. Oh, maybe that's why Keisha got blackballed? Could be. We'll look into it on TikTok. That's a great theory. But anywho, we did not know, and I apologize on behalf of the hip hop community that cares, because sometimes some of us do care. But anywho, so they were looking for something that had to do with some alleged SA trafficking, or S trafficking rather. And at the time, I had been under the impression that Diddy had just flown to New York in his private jet and missed the authorities. Well, it turns out that he was at Miami International, and they surrounded Diddy and confiscated cell phones before allowing him to board his flight and leave. So, no, Diddy is not in custody, nor does he have any warrants out for his arrest, according to sources. According to my sources, you'll be the first to know as soon as that hammer drops, which that hammer will drop, because if it's being dealt out to all of you pedos. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So, we know Cassie. He settled out of court with Cassie for an undisclosed amount of money, but there was some wild allegations. Once he settled out of that, a couple months later, fast forward, Little Rod, one of Diddy's ex-producers, dropped a lawsuit in New York courts, alleging that he was never paid, and he was also a victim of SA at the hands of Diddy, or also known as Mr. Sean Combs. It said a bunch of wild things, indicating him trying to groom him into homosexual relations by letting him know that his favorite rapper, that was a superstar out of Philadelphia, was also into homosexual activity, at which time Freak Mill took it straight to Twitter to reassure everyone that he loved the sweet, sweet feel of that good vagina. Fucking idiot.
Fucking idiot.
Yes, that's how I feel about Freak Mel. I've been looking at clips of this guy, and I will just tell you, his PR team should be fired, because they serve him no purpose. Because like if they don't tell him like yo bro, you probably shouldn't say that, right? Like, and he's still not listening. Like, I mean, I get it. I guess it's a free paycheck, but whatever, bro. Like, he's destroying his own career with his antics. But he just waved the white flag to DJ Ag. Holy. Shout out to Ag. But anywho, so yeah, in Little Rod's alleged lawsuit, he claimed that Diddy would force him to watch Diddy shower naked. He had tried to groom him into a homosexual relationship with him at many times by showing him videos of established musicians and quote unquote freak offs. Usher was named. Meek Mill was all but named by name. So it was said in the lawsuit also that Puff Daddy had murdered someone and it was covered up. And he had pictures to prove it, and those pictures were submitted with the lawsuit filing, and they have come out in the media, rather. So let me go ahead and see if I can pull those up real quick. By the way, if you're looking for the video version of this podcast, go ahead and run over to YouTube. The handle is Surreym5G. The handle is the host name. All right. SURREYIM5G. And there you can watch exclusive content from A Quarter in a Dream podcast. All right. You know, we do this for y'all.
Dream on, dreamers.
I love messing with the voice stuff. All right. I'm a child at heart. I'm sorry. The little boy shows up sometimes, you know. But yeah. So let me see if I can pull up this picture. Low shooting. Pew-pewing. Sorry. This is going on. I'm not seeing any pictures. I'm not seeing the pictures, but allegedly, yes, the pictures showed a bloody bathroom, and Little Rod said he actually has evidence that this is true. So, you know, pictures, Diddy, bloody. See, I can't find these pictures, so I don't know if those pictures were even real. But wait, nope, that's nothing. Nope. Okay, it would have came up already. So again, he alleges that one time in the studio, Diddy got into a heated argument with an associate, and Diddy and his son Justin walked into a bathroom, and the next thing he heard was some yelling. A gunshot went off, and another gunshot. Diddy and his son ran out. Said associate was laying on the floor with blood gushing out of his stomach, and he later died at a hospital. He was told to tell the paramedics and the police officers something, and they basically went along with the story. Diddy was never charged, but he said he does definitely have proof. So, at first I was wondering, you know, maybe he's just, you know, sour because, you know, maybe he didn't, you know, he didn't get paid. So, you know, the fact that he didn't get paid and he's sour, I get it, right? So, and I definitely get it, but I guess it wasn't like that. I guess it was more so he's telling the motherfucking truth. So with that being said, again, I thought that, you know, it could have been a little overstated, because he wasn't getting paid from Diddy, and he was like, you know what, motherfucker, now's the perfect time to strike, right? So let me see if I can get a quick settlement real quick. But after you hear this, yeah, it might change your mind like it changed mine. So, with that being said, let me go ahead and see if I can find it. Okay. So, again, I thought this was all cap, right? So, again, I followed the whole situation as it broke yesterday about them raiding Diddy's mansions. Okay. So, I did that. And again, I'm still under the belief that Little Rod's lawsuit may be a little overstated, right? It may be a little embellished because, you know, he has, you know, a bone to pick with Puff, right? Well, how about this, right? So, Diddy's Mule was arrested at Miami International on cocaine and marijuana charges. Brendan Paul was arrested on Monday around the same time Homeland Security was raiding the LA and Miami mansions, respectively, that belonged to Diddy and associates. Paul was named in Lil Rod's lawsuit, which indicated Paul being Combs' drug mule, as well as a procurer of guns and ammunition.
Pew, pew.
Officers alleged that Brendan was found with a white substance that was later tested and came back positive for cocaine, at which point he was arrested and charged with possession and held on a $2,500 cash bail. Now, this newest lawsuit is the latest in a slew of sexual assault and harassment allegations against Diddy. The lawsuit states that Mr. Paul was witnessed distributing drugs to Mr. Combs and associates. And I mean everything from like ecstasy and GHB to motherfucking mushrooms and ketamine. Yeah. And all contraband was taken through TSA via carry-on luggage, right? Well, if he has a private jet, yes, it'd be the thing to do. Get some carry-on luggage. He walks straight past TSA. They know it's Diddy. They usually let him just walk by, right? All this after Combs settled out of court immediately after longtime girlfriend Cassie Ventura filed lawsuits against Bad Boy CEO for his role in alleged freak-offs. So when I found this out, immediately, this put Little Rod's lawsuit into a whole nother dimension, right? So no longer he went from that disgruntled employee to, damn, this nigga telling the 110% honest to God's truth.
Honest to God's truth.
So, that's that man, right? So, he handled his business, right? Pay that man his money, because you owe that man some money. But, it looked like you gonna owe that man your life in a second, because, it looks like, you know, whatever information was in that lawsuit, they've been able to substantiate it with the capture of your drug mule, Diddler, Diddler. So, again, where was I about to go with this? Okay, so, you know, last night I was watching, DJ Academics, shout out to Academics. I was watching DJ Academics and, he was on live, he was on Twitch with a former federal agent. And he went down the list about how they were able to secure the search warrant, right? So basically someone, had seen with their own eyes something happening in the Diddy mansions and went back to police. So he must have already been being investigated. Someone was already working and talking to Homeland Security and the FBI and said, hey, this is what's over there and this is what's going down, right? So, and it was in the last 41 days that this person, you know, went and told authorities what they knew. Because in order for the authorities to get the warrant, the search warrant, they had to go in front of a judge and magistrate. And to go in front of him, you have to have eyewitness testimony, right? Or it's null and void. So the fact that they got one means that, they've been investigating and they're getting their ducks in a row, y'all. Like, they getting their ducks in a row and shit's about to get real live. Like 2 live crew for your nigga. Like, yo, it's crazy. All right. But I'm going to let you guys hear personally about the drug mule situation. So, I like to give you guys, the real deal, you know what I mean? All the time. And all the time, I like to give you the real deal. All right. Okay, let's see. Whoa. Okay, here we go. According to TMZ, y'all. Please shit. So let me give y'all the real deal. 1 second. I gotta stop this and bring it back, right? Because I gotta share. Stop sharing. Okay. So we got that. Let me close this out, chat. I apologize. But we're coming at you real quick. Share screen. Diddy's alleged little. Oh man, Diddy, I don't know how you did this to yourself, bruh. But that's between you and God, little nigga. That's between you and God.
Busted in Florida for drugs.
Crazy.
Yeah, so there were the raids at the homes, one here in L.A. and then the other one in Miami. But the arrest actually happened at an airport in Miami, at Miami's Opa Locka Executive Airport, where Diddy was boarding a private jet with his entourage, heading out for some spring break plans. That was interrupted when Customs got on the plane and decided they were going to search. And they ended up finding, according to law enforcement, on Mr. Brendan Paul, he is the entourage member. They say that they found cocaine and marijuana, and he was arrested.
Now, what is interesting about that is that Brendan Paul's name surfaced in one of the lawsuits against Diddy recently, where a former employee of Diddy's, Rodney Jones Jr., called Brendan Paul the drug mule for Diddy.
Right.
Hey,
now, again, those were his words.
Yeah, you guys. So obviously we know Rodney Jones's lawsuit.
Y'all can hear me talking while the video is playing, right? I'm not like muffled out or nothing,
But
right?
yes, to your point, he does in fact name Brendan Paul in his lawsuit. He misspelled his name, by the way. Rodney Jones's team misspelled Brendan, but in any case, he's named in the lawsuit. He claims that not only does he handle Diddy's quote drugs or whatever, but he also allegedly handles Diddy's firearms. He'll hold Diddy's pistol when they go out in public, et cetera, et cetera. Poor timing, obviously, because the guy just happened to be allegedly busted with drugs on him. So again, it's not any indication on Diddy himself that, the guy might have had drugs on him. That doesn't mean they were for Diddy or anything, but obviously it's not a good look in light of what's been alleged against Diddy and against Brendan. So the timing is it's just bad timing for Diddy's camp.
So what's interesting is that Brendan is the one arrest that has come out of all of those, the law enforcement activity yesterday. We saw people that were handcuffed at Diddy's home here in L.A.
Including his two sons,
Justin and King. They were not arrested. They were detained during the search, but they were released after that. And in fact, we got some photos of them late last night where they were leaving the home. And look, maybe they're not coming back to the house.
Well, the house must be torn apart. I mean, that's the way.
Yes.
That's the way the feds roll. When they do a search like this. I want to make a couple of points. By the way, we're going to get into
them leaving the house late last night, around 12:30.
And we're going to get into the show of force in a minute. But there are a couple of other things. Number one, everybody's wondering, what does this mean in terms of Diddy's exposure? To get a search warrant to do what they did in Miami and in Los Angeles, the prosecutors have to show a judge that there is probable cause to believe that Diddy committed a crime since he was the target of this. And we know that one of the issues that they're looking at is alleged sex trafficking. This is something that came up in several of the lawsuits. For the judge to sign the warrant, which the judge did, that means the judge found that there was probable cause to believe that Diddy committed the crime. Now, that doesn't mean he is going to be automatically prosecuted because the purpose of the search is to gather evidence. And then they have to decide, is there a probability that they could prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt if they file charges? If the answer to that is yes, then they would file charges, presumably, against Diddy.
Right.
The other thing that is interesting about this, Diddy had no idea, nor did his team, and that there was even an investigation, much less they were on the precipice of a search.
Which I say, like, the fact that they didn't suspect that there might be an investigation, I don't know. I mean, with all these allegations out there and knowing that U.S. attorneys are hearing these allegations, these are the kind of things they tend to look into. And you got to imagine that Diddy, and since we know that he didn't see this coming, that there was an investigation, makes this the video we got of him outside Miami-Opa Locka Airport as customs agents are going
kind
to
of
explain.
accentuates the point.
Yeah, he just seems confused. What's the next step? What happens from here? And right now, that's anybody's call. It just depends on what they found during these raids. Is there enough, as you said, that they would feel that they could actually bring charges against him, try him?
It looks like they were, in fact, this is what we've heard, that they were on the way with several of his kids to spring break. They actually had 2 private jets that they were going to go to. Again, we believe it's Antigua for spring break.
We know that one of the jets did actually make it to Antigua.
We don't think Diddy was on that jet.
Diddy obviously was not on that one. In fact, it left from the West Coast, and that is the plane on the ground in Antigua where it landed. One other thing we just wanted to show you before we go to break here, Holmby Hills is a very ritzy part of town. Diddy has, as you would imagine, some very famous neighbors who couldn't get to their homes, one of them being the director, Ridley Scott, who was stopped, obviously, where the LAPD was there to maintain security on the street. He couldn't get to his home for a while, was standing outside on the other side of the police tape like everyone else. One of the few times that being an Oscar nominee doesn't really get you anywhere in Hollywood. They're like, sorry, sir.
You get a table somewhere, but you can't get your house.
Alrighty, so there you have it. There you fucking have it. Alrighty. So yeah, there you have it. So the moment that I saw this personally, I said, yo, Little Rod ain't lying. Little Rod knows some shit. And Diddy, I don't know how you were dumb enough to let this man amass this much information about your inside workings, but you're done, guy. You are done. You ever seen somebody like that walk of shame? Like, it just looked like he was just walking around kicking rocks. Like, God, I hate this fucking country. Like, oh man, getting his divine justice. This is, and I'm going to go out on a limb here and speak for all the victims and say, fuck you, Diddy. Literally. Fuck you. And I'm not an angel. No Diddy. But like, come on, bro. Like, you were keeping women hostage. You were keeping them drugged up so they wouldn't know any better. Like, come on, bro. Like, you're the worst of the worst, bro. But here's what I will say. Is he's not the big wig. Right? So here's what we need not do. Is we need not to go back to sleep because they got one of them. Or they're on their way to getting one of them. Because who knows? This shit might just blow over and we'll never hear about Diddy fucking again. Right? They may let him go fly off and live out his days on Pedophile Island with Mr. Epstein and call everything all good. But I digress. Cannot fall asleep. I don't digress. Okay, fine. But we must not fall asleep and forget that we are outraged behind the shit that's going on with our young boys, our young girls, and our women. Because, like, they're being kidnapped at an alarming rate, as I said. And come on, bro, something has to be done. And if you think you're just gonna hand us P. Diddy and say, hey guys, are all you niggas good now? No, we're not good. We need the whole establishment dismantled. And I feel like it being the age of Aquarius has not let us down yet. And there's a mighty wind rushing in, and it's blowing over a couple levels of that house of cards that y'all live in. Okay? Yeah. Puffy's destruction. Diddy's destruction. I don't know, but you must have pissed somebody off for really though. Alrighty, but we're gonna go ahead and move on because like no one should really care about Diddy this much. It's really his victims we care more about and making sure that he sees justice. So, alrighty, now let's see. Okay, so it looks like Tory Lanez has he's done it again, despite all of the darkness that this boy has been through in the past few months. And I'm not saying at whose fault, but he's been through some shit, right? For the MTS shooting, pewing rather, and he got some shit going on with him, right? Well, guess what he did? He made the Billboard charts from jail. Yes, he did. And Trap House made it. Okay, so Trap House marks Tory's 27th hit on the R&B songs chart, right? It's his first to debut on the tally in more than a year. He debuted on this specific list in 2022. That year, I Like spent one frame at number 22. Okay, well, he earned himself a place from prison. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So, yeah, my man Daystar Peterson. Alrighty. It debuted on the Billboard chart this week, giving Lane one of his first new placements on the list since being found guilty. So yeah, sounds like Tory's team has had they were getting shit in line on his way to jail, which would be smart, right? Get some hits lined up to keep my name relevant, and hopefully, I'm gonna be able to get a sentencing adjustment, and we'll figure it out after that. But man, kudos to him, music wise. Kudos to Tory. I'm not touching the MTS situation. That's a whole nother demon. That's a whole nother episode that we can dive into. So again, I'm a podcast for the culture. I'm a podcast for the dreamers, and we love our music. And music wise, Tory is one of my favorites. So I'm gonna go ahead and give him his flowers. Cause that man,
he put on for the billboards. From San Quentin.
Alright, I had to make one joke. Alright, Daystar, I'm sorry, bro, but I know you're making the best out of it where you at, bro, so I knew you ain't tripping right now. I know you ain't tripping. Alright, lastly on the agenda. Alright, let's go. So, I woke up this morning to get ready for, work, and I got an alert. Baltimore Bridge, it was fucked up. Okay, cool. And I tuned in, and I was horrified to see what I saw. So I'm gonna go ahead and share this screen one more time for you guys and let you guys see what the hell happened. Okay. Here
us
we
here
go.
on CBS News. I'm Lilia Luciano. We are following breaking news. Rescue workers continue searching for survivors from that massive bridge collapse in Baltimore. A large container ship hit a column of the bridge just after 1:30 Eastern this morning, and a massive portion of the bridge fell into the water, along with several vehicles. A law enforcement official has confirmed the ship, quote, lost propulsion before hitting the bridge. 2 people have been rescued so far from the water. 1 is in critical condition. 6 people are still not accounted for. The governor of Maryland has declared a state of emergency.
We know the Key Bridge. I've ridden over the Key Bridge countless times. So many of us know the Key Bridge because it is our normal commute. This is a place that is a normal commute route for over 30,000 Marylanders every single day. And so to hear the words that the Key Bridge has collapsed, it's shocking and heartbreaking.
CBS News correspondent Ramy Inocencio is in Baltimore right now. Ramy, let's talk about the atmosphere right now in Baltimore. Of course, the main concern authorities are saying is in rescuing those 7 people who remain missing. But just looking at the bridge and just looking at the map, this is an area that I imagine is going to require a huge shift in people's everyday commute.
Yes, absolutely, Lydia. The Francis Scott Key Bridge has been an iconic fixture of Baltimore for nearly the past 50 years. There's shock, there's disbelief that this bridge now is basically just gone. I've been speaking to some Baltimore residents, and they said that it was a gut punch to something that they've known every single day of their lives. As we heard from the governor just now, people drive this bridge as a normal part of life. Another resident said that they thought it was a majestic bridge that they appreciate as they drive over it, something that they can see the surrounding wilderness, that they can appreciate the surrounding waters and the port of Baltimore with it just nearby. But now the fact that this doesn't exist and the idea that this may not be replaced in the near future. It took about 5 years for the first bridge to be decommissioned and then also to be finally built. If it takes that long, it will have massive repercussions on a day-to-day level, as you just talked about, but also economically for the port of Baltimore as well as for the country and really for ships going around the world.
Yeah, I imagine that there is so much that goes through there. Now, one thing that we learned from authorities is that there was a mayday call from the ship that was made before it struck the bridge. I imagine that must have saved a lot of lives. Unfortunately, this happened at 1:30 a.m., not during rush hour. But what else do we know about what happened before the collapse?
Sure. So from what we have been told, the Dali cargo vessel left the port of Baltimore, and shortly thereafter, it was only into a few minutes into its journey. It radioed the Port of Baltimore and said that there was some kind of problem, some kind of malfunction, and they had been starting to lose power. And we even see in the live cam footage from that time, just around 1:30 a.m.
All right. Listen, I don't know about you guys, but this all just a real eerie coincidence for me. Especially after they went ahead and dropped the Leave the World Behind movie on Netflix, and all of these things are starting to coincidentally happen in real life, and I can't help but feel like this is bells and whistles for the inside few who know the signs to look for, but these are warning signs to regular everyday people like me and you, Dreamer. So, keep your head on a swivel for real, because it's getting devious out here. And I think they do, because that's the way the world seems to be going. They keep implementing these, what am I trying to look for? These, they keep implementing, they're trying out these new procedures to see if we'll listen and see if we'll conform, which we've been doing. but this is the age of Aquarius, and Aquarius, like I said earlier in the episode, Aquarius is not letting us down. She's definitely doing her dance, right? She is definitely making it pop with all that ass, right? Like 10 cans of bounce that ass, and you know what it is. So yeah, man, it's crazy, right? But let's go ahead and get back into it.
A.m. in the morning, that they started to lose power. The power went out, power went back on, power went out again. And then at some point, you see this big fluff, this big cloud of black smoke. That is indicative that they tried to steer the vessel somehow to make to hopefully make it avoid the bridge. We now know that didn't happen, and shortly thereafter we saw that massive shock from that explosion, concrete coming off of the pylon, water splashing off of the ship, and then now we know that the Francis Scott Key Bridge no longer exists.
My gosh, Ray Inocencio, I know you have a lot of reporting ahead, and we'll be back with you in some time. Let's bring in, thank you so much for your reporting. Let's bring in now Roberto Leon. He is a structural professor at Virginia Tech to break down how this all works. Roberto, what sort of precautions are put in place to prevent something like this from happening? It seems from the images like it was just this one hit and then the whole thing collapses. But I imagine when it comes to the engineering of it, there's ways to prevent that.
Yes, thank you for having me, first of all. You're right. We design modern bridges for what we call extreme events, and one of those extreme events is what we call a vessel collision, which is what happened today. Unfortunately, these are for the more modern bridges, and so this bridge did not have very much protection. So I was noticing earlier today, just looking through ongoing projects, that Maryland is doing a retrofit for one of their big bridges, the Memorial Bridge, and it's at a cost of $100 million or thereabouts to just put the protection that is needed for a bridge of this size. The other thing to think about is that this is just a very large ship with heavily loaded, and so with a lot of momentum, and it's very hard to steer even in the best of circumstances. And so this is a very unfortunate, unusual accident. The bridge was designed for some lateral loads, but those were mostly the wind loads, and perhaps to some level earthquake loads, although I don't think those applied in this area at the time.
Right.
And if you look at a picture of the bridge, the main bridge is sitting on what we call bridge bearings, which are little hinges. And they seem quite slender and small in comparison with the weight they are carrying. So this bridge did not have a lot of lateral resistance. Not a lot.
So this makes me think, when things like this happen, the whole country and its system of, in this case, bridges, kind of goes into let's make sure that this doesn't happen again and that we're better protected. Do you see this event as maybe pushing for retrofitting of all kinds of bridges that were built?
Wait, did they just say what I think they said? This shouldn't have happened in the first place, bro. We're not a second or third world country, okay? If it had just left from the fucking dock, come on, really? It looks like it was at a port, right? This bridge looked to be probably less than a mile from port. So, I get they're big, they're huge, but you mean to tell me it picked up that much speed that it couldn't turn? Because, it looked like it turned into the bridge, which is fucking ridiculous. So, at the end of the day, I'm going to be a conspiracy theorist on this and say that, this is a call to action for the elites, not for us. This is our warning shot, right? This is our warning shot.
The final call. All right. You know what? I might do the whole podcast in this voice, because this shit is fire. But anyway, I digress about the Baltimore Bridge collapse. I do want to say, A Quarter in a Dream, the podcast, sends our condolences to everyone immediately affected by the tragedy that took place this morning on that Baltimore bridge. You know, I wish the survivors a speedy recovery. And yeah, that's it on that. So it's 6:30, man. It's been fun. I've been having a blast rocking out with you guys. I'm gonna sign off a little early because I'm going through some personal shit, but I couldn't let that affect the episode, so I had to deliver. I had to give y'all what y'all been waiting for, and that was episode 10 or 11 or 12. I fucking forgot about it. Yo, I literally forgot, bro. We just been dropping more content. And that's because this is something that I love to do. This is my new lane. Fuck the niggas that's hating on me. Fuck the bitches that's hating on me. Cause it's all good. You know what I mean? I do this without a bunch of people I don't know helping me. So, at the end of the day, man, it is what it is. I done lived a tough life. You know what I mean? But yo, listen, energy vampires is real. So when the blood's out, the fangs might come out. You dig? But again, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I want to shout out to my guys in the back. You know who you are. Alright? So, this has been A Quarter in a Dream production. Another episode of A Quarter in a Dream. And we are out.